So let's talk about trees. Why should we be preserving trees in our cities? I've been a tree hugger since way back, and I have been climbing trees, and they are great for that. They are also really good for shade on hot days. And I remember a childhood memory of a sleepover at my primary school in the country to watch an animated TV special back in the 1970s sometime. TV was really new back then. We'd only just got colour TV at home, so this was incredibly exciting. And I always remember the Lorax. He's not very technologically minded. This guy. Fast forward 40 years. People should care about trees, especially big old native ones, because trees provide us with a range of ecosystem services that's really important for our birds, animals and insects. And for us as humans, being in and around trees actually makes us happy. We all know this place. It's Adelaide. We've got Waite in the foreground. CBD in the mid-back is Port Adelaide and the Gulf. Let me share with you some sobering facts. 46% of the trees on our planet have been cut down since human civilization began. We've certainly replanted a number of them, but we usually cut them down again. Australia is one of the worst at that. We have removed 45% of our forest cover, and the majority that's left has been logged at some point, so it's not pristine. Deforestation is actually increased in the last 10 years, and I won't tell you which state that's in. It's not South Australia, but you might be able to work it out. South Australia, we've only got 10% left of our native forest cover. In Adelaide, it's only 4% on the Adelaide Plains. But yes, we have trees. You can see them in that image. We do have trees. 27% of our city is classified as tree cover, but that's actually the least of all the capital cities in Australia. So why are trees important to us? What happens when we have trees in our cities, not just in parks and botanic gardens, but on roadsides, in our home gardens and along city verges? Let me see, would you prefer that or something like that? A cityscape like that, or maybe this as your vista. I know which ones I prefer. So what happens if we don't have trees? Doing research for talks is always really great because often I get to learn something completely new. I've always known about the urban heat island effect, but actually doing this research, I found some really interesting information. So the urban heat island effect is what happens in our cities because we have so many hard surfaces. The heat of the day is retained by those hard surfaces, and at night time it reflects back, and that makes our whole city stay hot during the night time. Last night may have been a really good example. I live in the hills, so I don't feel that effect so much, but at night time, especially with a blanketed cloud, the temperature doesn't drop. The cities stay hot. The City of West Torrens did a study to look at the urban heat island effect in their council region, and this is what this map is. And you can see it shows you that the dark red zone, that's the hottest, while blue is the coolest. Built structures and built materials retain that heat, and they're also impervious to moisture. Moisture is important because the evaporative effect helps to keep the surfaces cool. So if you've got no moisture in the ground, there's nothing to evaporate and nothing to keep cool. This is a specific example I wanted to share with you that shows the benefits of trees in a cityscape. The first image is a section of street during the day. The blue line in the centre is actually where the trees are. The second image is the same area at night time where the heat is being re-emitted from the surfaces that absorbed it. And you can see the aerial image showing you where the trees are. That heavily tree-lined street during the day, 34 degrees. The adjacent streets with no trees, upwards of 42 degrees. So you can see that already there's a big impact of the trees actually shading the streets. New suburbs and new developments, they're going in everywhere, new highways and new large buildings. Established trees are being cut down to make building easier, to save a few $1,000s for the builders when they're putting up their fences. But unfortunately, these developments have no room for big trees, and often the trees that are put in are very small and they take years to grow. This is a new development in the southern suburbs. There is no room for any trees that I can see here. But the reality is that private homes actually increase in value when they've got good tree cover. They save on energy costs. So also, research suggests that dollar for dollar, it costs many more times the amount of money to make roads for cars as it does for roads for bicycles. There's also a perception that big trees are dangerous and drop branches, and therefore we should not have them in our cities. But is that true? No trees at all? Is that what we want? What else do trees do for us? Apart from keeping our streets cooler, trees provide habitat for our native wildlife, our birds, animals and insects. Trees improve the air quality by taking out pollutants and increasing oxygen levels. They improve stormwater management by allowing the water to infiltrate and then be released as evaporative to keep the air cool. They provide us with open spaces for enjoyment and recreation. Exercise, which improves our health and social well-being and makes us happier people. I like happy people, and so when I found this slide presented by Planet Ark, I thought this was a really good one to share with you because it shows the different benefits we get socially from trees. And then I also discovered a thing called the Biophilia Hypothesis, which states that because of our origins, we are innately connected to nature. Anything that we do that enhances our engagement with nature, with the natural world, results in neurological and biochemical positive feedback. Spending time in nature reduces our body's response to stress. We are calmer. The more time you spend in nature, the calmer and happier you are, and healthier and brighter. And this really applies to our kids. So we know that trees are important to us as humans to make us feel happier and healthier, and they increase our property values and keep our cities cooler so that we can actually survive as organisms on this planet. But we do need the right trees for the right places, which leads me to the work we've been doing here at the Waite campus. Over the last 20 years or so, I've been involved in a research program to try and develop eucalypts that we can put in our home gardens that are small but will provide habitat for our birds and animals. It takes a little while, but we've been looking at different species to cross that have characters that we want. And I can really talk about this for hours, so I'm going to move on to the next slide so that I don't get too excited about it. Having spent a day with Sophie Thompson yesterday filming a story, I'm really excited about my eucalypts right now. So I'm just going to get calm because we're in nature. Go outside. I'm sad that these blinds are here and you can't see the trees out there, but I'm a tree. Okay, so here we have some examples of some of the different varieties that we bred here at the Waite. They are all small flowering eucalypts and they would all provide habitat for birds, animals and insects if you had them in your home garden. So we need to be thinking carefully about the choices of trees that we have so that they do provide habitat and they're not just a green leafy tree that does nothing to support anybody but ourselves. I'm going to share with you some more research that's been done by some colleagues of mine, Jennifer Gardner, Marion McDewey and Erica Boyle, who looked at determining the dollar value of trees. So in America, the USDA put together a program to enable people to put a dollar value on what services trees provide. It's kind of complicated, but basically you take some physical measurements of a tree, put it into the software program, which is called iTree Echo, and it will give you some data back, which I can't read from here because I've got my wrong glasses on, but things like carbon sequestration, air pollution removed, shade potential, the dollar value of environmental benefits. So it's all up there. You can read it. It's a really worthwhile study to have a look at. The team, which mainly consisted of Erica and some volunteers, went out and measured all of the trees. They don't stand there with a big tape measure and measure the trees. They have a device that enables them to do it. Height, canopy width, trunk diameter, all of that data is really important to give an idea of the size and shape of the tree. The output is presented in an interactive format where we can click on any one of the trees and a table appears on cue of information providing the age, the height, the carbon sequestered per year, the carbon stored per year and pollution removal. For this 140-year-old sugar gum, the structural value comes in at, drumroll, $58,000. So, in the study that was undertaken by Jennifer, Marion and Erica, they did 1,250 of the biggest and older trees in the Waite Arboretum. And the dollar value given to those trees became million. And here it is, the wonderful and unique Waite Arboretum, a living scientific collection of more than 2,500 trees, some up to 140 years old, from a wide range of places around the world, representing a range of species, genera, shape, colour, flowering, leaves, bark, from the most common to the critically endangered. Plenty of space to enjoy being in trees, plenty of space to move and breathe and to be happy. We are open from dawn until dusk, every day of the year except days of extreme and catastrophic fire danger. Luckily today is not such a day. And Christmas Day, I believe the university says the trees can have a day off at that point, and entry is absolutely free. We also have an app, the Waite Arboretum app, which is available in Android and, what's the other one? iPhone, because I'm an Android person, so it just doesn't sit well with me. Free to download, and you can use that to guide you around the Arboretum and learn more about the trees. I'd be more than happy to show you around, just ask me any chance to get out. A final word from my friend who had such an effect on me all those years ago. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better, it's not. So let me leave you with a question. How many trees do you need every year to provide enough oxygen for you to breathe, or for your lifetime? Just have a think about that.